If you're struggling to reach goals that you've set for yourself, this episode is for you. This week, we're going to talk about the two most likely causes that are stopping you from achieving your goals. Hi there, my friends. I'm excited to talk to you this week about how you've been doing this year with your goals. It's August right now. We are 4 months away from a brand new year. And if you hear that and the thought of that makes you feel complete dread because you haven't done the things you set out to do at the beginning of this year, I want to give you some insight in why that probably is. I want you to think back to January of this year. Even if you're not a New Year's resolution type of girl, which I'm not really, even if you didn't determine that at the top of this year, you were going to do all of these amazing things, most of us think of a new year as a new beginning. It's a fresh start. And so I'm willing to bet that you decided back in January of this year that you were going to achieve some things. It could be personally, professionally, in your health, in your finances. There was something that you set out to achieve and you haven't done it yet. You may have even just given it up altogether. It happens all the time, though, right? We set a goal, whether it be a New Year's goal or not. We set a goal, we get excited about it, we plan, and then something happens. Things start to get complicated. All of a sudden, we don't have time for the goal, or it's not the right time, or we put it off until later, or we decide that we really didn't want it in the first place. Can you relate to that? Are you doing that now with your goal? What are you telling yourself about why you haven't reached the goals that you set for yourself? Or better yet, what is that inner mean girl of yours telling you about why you haven't reached your goals yet? You're not qualified? You always do this? You always start and stop? It's never going to happen for you? Or maybe you're too busy. You're too lazy. Now isn't the right time. Maybe when the kids get out of school or go back to school, or maybe when you get certified or lose the weight or save the money. It can go on and on and on. But I want you to shut that voice down now. Whatever reason you're telling yourself that you haven't yet achieved your goal or you haven't made enough progress towards it, I want you to consider something else that you probably have not thought of. The two main reasons we struggle with achieving certain goals and changing our lives in certain ways are number one, identity attachment, and number two, goal attachment. So let's talk about it. First of all, when I say identity attachment, that means that you are attached, probably subconsciously, to who you are being. You are attached to the way she behaves, to the outcome she has, whether or not they are ones that you truly believe you want or not. You may be attached to the struggle, to the hardship, to the pain. And I know that sounds crazy because who would want to struggle or feel pain? But when it's a part of the identity that you have adapted, it becomes unconscious. It becomes a part of who your brain believes you are. And so anything that comes against that identity creates this internal discord. And when we feel internal discord, we run for the hills. We quit, we self sabotage, we slow down, we blame, we do everything we can without even realizing it to make sure that we don't reach the goal. I want to share with you an example of this from my life. So, I'm working with a nutritional therapist, and she is also a trainer. Now, just to be transparent here, I've probably had 20 different trainers in as many years. I've had amazing trainers over the years, but I cannot remember one time where I got to the point where I felt like, yes, now I've reached the goal. I look and feel the way that I want to. Not one single time. It's part of the reason I've had over 20 different trainers because I was trying to solve the problem, the wrong problem, trying to find the one that would have the secret ingredient to my success. And it wasn't until recently working out with my current trainer and therapist, nutritional therapist, that I had this light bulb moment when it comes to fitness. I realized that my goal of becoming someone who just works out like as a lifestyle was a process. I became committed to becoming that woman, not committed to a goal, not committed to a certain weight on the scale. And so as I dropped the attachment, I had to lean into the process. As I dropped the attachment to being a certain weight, as I dropped the attachment to looking a certain way, I leaned into the process of becoming a woman who takes care of herself and works out. And every day I behaved as a woman who works out, even when I didn't feel like it. And slowly, very slowly, it seems like over the course of about a year, I became someone who works out. And I don't brag about that because it's not like I love it, but it's just who I am. I don't think about it. I don't go days without taking care of my body in some way. I just do it. It's just who I am. It's part of my identity. And so you would think that this would mean I've arrived, right? Not so fast, friends. I addressed the whole desire to be a woman who works out, but I didn't address the desire and goal to look and feel a certain way in my body. So I would work out and then I would eat like halfway decently, but not with any type of intention. I would tell myself that, YOLO, I deserve a treat. And I did that pretty much every day. And then I would be frustrated with the lack of results and movement towards my goal. I couldn't figure out why I kept sabotaging my efforts. So I would do great during the week, eat horribly over the weekend, and lose any momentum I had gained. Here's what I discovered. I'm attached to the identity of a woman trying to get into shape, trying to lose weight, trying to tone up. I'm attached to her because I've been her for so long. And here's the part, ladies, that stung even more. I'm attached to the identity of a woman doing good enough. I'm working out, that's good enough. I've signed clients in my business, that's good enough. I'm not exactly where I want to be, but this is good enough. I've attached myself to the identity of a woman who settles for good enough. Let that sit for a minute. Did that hit you hard? It hit me hard. And if it hit you hard, you may be attached to that same identity. You see, when you can tell yourself that it's good enough, you have no reason to push past that, to strive for excellent because it's good enough. And when you add in the unconscious addiction to struggle and trying versus actually achieving, it's no wonder the goal seems unattainable. Today, we have to break the identity attachment. We're breaking up with the identity of someone who is trying and who is settling. That is not what we do as dangerous women. So we're not going to do it anymore. We're going to put in the work to achieve and receive everything that we were called to. So first off, how do you know if you're addicted to an identity that is no longer serving you? You know because you always end up back at square one. You find yourself dealing with the same or similar issues and roadblocks when it comes to your goals over and over again. And you can even trace it through different areas of your life. Your struggle may be in finances. Are you used to good enough and not abundance? It might be in your business. Are you used to doing okay and not being an overflow? When that happens, you will notice these moments of great success followed by huge dips of going right back where you started. So you make a ton of money in your business, you have one of those months in your business that everybody talks about, right? These 5-figure months. Or in your career where you start to think, I finally made it. Only to be followed by months of uncertainty and doubt in your business, no new clients, no money coming in, no promotion on your job, no bonuses. What happened? What happened is that your old identity was not willing to let go. Your brain has worked to conform to your status quo. It has worked very hard to be comfortably uncomfortable right where you are. And your success and your attempts to override that are always going to be met with resistance. Most of us will have success and never take the time to reset ourselves, to begin to see ourselves in this new light with this new success as this new identity. We try and be who we've always been, which ends up in us having results that we've always had. You've got to let her go. You've got to stop romanticizing about who she is. It's like coming out of a breakup. You know how it is. You break up with someone and then you hit these moments of loneliness, and then all of a sudden you start to romanticize the relationship. Maybe it wasn't so bad. Maybe they weren't all that bad after all. Maybe I should give him another chance. You forget that he was a jerk. You forget the times you cried and wished that it could just be better. The urge to go back is not because he was such a great guy. The urge to go back is that it's comfortably uncomfortable there. You know it. It's like the old saying about dealing with a devil that you know. It's better to deal with a devil that you know than a new devil. Well, I don't know about you, but I don't want to deal with a devil at all. I don't want to be a woman who struggles. And I know you don't want to be a woman who struggles. I don't want to be a woman who is trying. There is nothing dangerous about trying. We don't upset the status quo of our lives by being that woman. The second reason that you haven't reached your goal is that you are attached to reaching the goal and achieving the outcome versus committed to being the woman who achieves the goal. You are going to know that you're attached to your goal when you're thinking that reaching it or not reaching it will mean something about you. You are attached to the outcome because you are using it as evidence that you are allowed to believe something about yourself. Maybe it's that you're good enough, that you're worthy, that you can do it. When you need that goal to happen so that you can believe that, you know you're operating in attachment to your goal. You will know that you are attached to the goal when your brain tells you that if it doesn't happen now, it never will. Being committed to your goal is committing to not stopping, not quitting until you become the woman who achieves the goal. Not quitting until you figure it out, committing to the process and understanding that it is a journey, knowing and accepting that part of the journey will require and likely involve bumps in the roads and failures, deciding ahead of time that those bumps and failures will be used as stepping stones and lessons learned as you continue to figure it out. When you're attached, you beat yourself up throughout the whole process. When you're committed, you dig your heels in and know that it will be a ride, and you decide in advance that you have what it takes to make it through the good, the bad, and the ugly. Commitment is when you can face down the process of reaching your goal, knowing full well that parts of it will be really, really painful, parts of it will be really challenging, and parts of it will be amazing and life-changing. And you're willing to go through it all. Not just the amazing life-changing part, but the other side of that spectrum too, where it's difficult and challenging. So you know I got homework for you. This is what I want you to do instead. First, you're going to go through an identity breakup, girl. We're breaking up. And that starts with you spending some time grieving the loss of who you used to be. And that requires that you decide right now that you will not be her any longer. Don't let your brain convince you that this part of your identity is necessary and needed. It is not. This is an adaptation to your identity that you have picked up. It was never meant for you. It has served its purpose, and now it's time to release it. As you grieve the loss of this part of your identity, I want you to make note of all of the actions that you have taken as a result of being her. The parts that you consider to be missteps, mistakes, bad judgments, look at those. Look at those so that you recognize how you move when you are being her and operating under that old identity. Now, you guys know how we do around here. This is not an excuse for you to shame and beat yourself up. We are releasing the attachment to an old identity, and it's a process. And this is a time for you to have grace, compassion, and patience with yourself. As those behaviors surface, as they will, you will gently redirect yourself by reminding yourself who you are now, who you are being. That is why it is important that you be her as much as possible, that you take action as if you were already her, so that when the old behaviors pop up, you can say without a doubt, that's not who I am anymore. I don't do those things anymore because I am not her anymore. I broke up with that version of me and that identity. Then I want you to understand and notice when you are attached to your goal versus committed, and gently redirect yourself. Ask yourself, am I using this goal as evidence to believe something about myself? If the answer is yes, in what ways can you find that what you want to believe about yourself by achieving this goal is already true? That this goal is just further evidence of what already is. And whether it happens or not doesn't change what is already true. When you have a failure or an unexpected, unwelcomed outcome, are you beating yourself up? Or are you using that as information to keep going in a new way? Are you keeping a record of lessons learned, or are you recording failures? If you're looking at setbacks as failure, ask yourself to find an answer to this. How is this happening for me? How can I use this as a stepping stone and not a stumbling block that just keeps me down? And answer it. The work is in the answers. Learning to ask and answer great questions of yourself will change your life. We don't ask questions and allow our brains to get off the hook with the whole, I don't know. All right, my friends, that's it for this week. I want you to spend some time doing this work. I know it's heavy. It's a lot. I'm doing this right along with you. And you owe this to yourself. You are worth it. Your goals are worth it. The life that you want to live is worth it. Recognize that the person you have been served you to a point. We don't have to villainize her. But if that identity is now keeping you from living the life that you want, doing the things you want to do, it's time to let it go. Commit yourself to being the woman who achieves the goal. And as you commit to not giving up on that, you will see your dreams become a reality. I want to share a few ways you can go deeper with this work and really accelerate your growth. First off, you can sign up to receive my weekly email and newsletter on my website. The link is going to be below. And you can also go back through all of these episodes. We're on episode 34, and make sure you're following along with the assignments and doing them. Then I also have an amazing group of women who are part of the How to Be a Dangerous Woman Facebook community, which I will also link to this episode. Join us there. I'm going to start posting a lot more videos and giving opportunities for us to learn together live. So I'd really love to see you in that group. And finally, for those of you who are really ready for one-on-one attention and guidance, I have 2 open spots for 6 months of virtual one-on-one coaching. If you've been thinking about it and you're on the fence about whether or not coaching is for you, this is your sign. Check out my IG client highlights. You can see what my past and present clients have said, and you can see how they have thrived in every area of their life because of the time they have invested in coaching. Don't be nervous. I've got you. Shoot me a message or go to my website for more information about the one-on-one coaching program. I hope you have an amazing week. God bless you, and I'll see you back here next Monday. If you found today's episode helpful, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and subscribe to this channel so you never miss an episode. And I'd really love to hear how you're doing. You can find me at Dr. Crystal Connor on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. I can't wait to hear what progress you've made. So until next week, see ya.